Hi. Okay, hit it, Steve. So on my 47th birthday in 2016, my husband got me a 23andMe DNA test kit. And these weren't exactly new, but they weren't like super widespread either. So I thought, sure, why not? I'll spit in the tube, send it off, see what happens. I wasn't expecting any big surprises, and at first there weren't any. My ancestry was mostly Eastern European, and my maternal grandfather's from Slovenia, so I expected that. And you learn all sorts of fun little facts, such as if you're likely to flush when you drink alcohol, if your pee smells funny when you eat asparagus, and also how much Neanderthal DNA you have. And it turns out I have a lot. So 23andMe identifies other customers that you share a DNA connection with. And 2 of my maternal cousins were on the tree. And you start getting emails all the time. You have new DNA relatives. But they're always like 4th cousins. So I just started deleting them, didn't even read them. And then one day in 2022, I clicked on one of these for some reasons. And this is what I saw. I had an aunt and 2 first cousins on my father's side. I did not know these people. My father was an only child. And my first thought was, Grandpa Johnson has some secrets. Of course, I thoroughly Google stalked these people, but the problem was my new Aunt Jean, she was too old to have been the child of my grandpa. And I know what you're thinking, right? If my grandfather wasn't the father of these new aunt and her 2 brothers, and I knew she had 2 brothers because of the Google stalking, then there's only one other possibility. But it did not occur to me, not even for a second. You know what you know, and I knew who my mom and dad were. But a few weeks later, my brother Josh, he just called me to catch up, and I mentioned these new relatives, and he said, well, I did 23andMe, but I kept it all private. So we logged on together to our accounts, and we connected, and we discovered that we're half-siblings. Yeah, wow. So a parent and child share roughly 50% of their DNA, as do full siblings. So grandparents, grandchildren's, aunts, nieces, etc., half-siblings, 25%. So every step away from that parent-child relationship, the DNA halves. So my brother and I, 27%, not full siblings. And I cannot emphasize enough how disorienting this was. Your parentage is the foundation upon which you build your sense of self, and mine just collapsed. I was in a state of shock. The father who raised me had passed away a long time ago, and we weren't super close, and now I learned he wasn't my dad. So a difficult conversation with my mother confirmed the identity of my true father, but I had no idea what to do next. And in my frantic state, I Googled, what if your dad isn't your dad? Which I know seems like really insane, but I was not the first. And that's how I found out about NPEs. And so NPE is a genetic term for non-parental event or not parent expected. And it's the club that people like me belong to. There are podcasts, Facebook groups, books, conferences. And when you delve into this, it doesn't usually end well, like not a lot of happy endings. And so I had a father I'd never met. I had 2 half-siblings, a brother and a sister, and we've been living these parallel lives, like completely oblivious to each other's existence. And all I really knew about my dad was from an article I found online. I knew he had a PhD and he was a retired superintendent of schools. And so my head was just like totally spinning. I had so many questions, the basic health stuff, of course, but I also wondered, like, in what ways might we be alike? You know, did we share a sense of humor, political sensibilities, habits, quirks? So I decided I would always wonder if I didn't try to contact my dad. So I reached out to one of the 23andMe cousins, Haley, who I later met. And she very kindly agreed to pass a message on to her father, my uncle, and then he could decide what to do. So I spent half a day writing like the highest stakes email ever. And a week or so later, I got a really nice reply from my father, and he suggested we schedule a time to talk. About 20 minutes after I get this email, I'm still like, my phone rings. And it's a number that I don't recognize. I pick it up, and, hi, this is your cousin Kate. I know Kate from the 23andMe. She's Aunt Jean's daughter. And then she says, do you remember me? And I said, no, have we met? And she said, yes, I was your 8th grade teacher. Yeah. And so my dad and I, we talked on the phone. I was nervous. I was worried it would be awkward. What if we didn't have anything to say to each other? But we talked for over an hour, and it was really easy and wonderful. And after that, I Zoomed with my brother Casey and my sister Ashley, and they were just amazing, thrilled to have a new sister. So a few months later, my husband and I went to St. Louis, and I met my father and my siblings and their families for the first time in my life. We had a whirlwind few days, and I really can't say enough about my dad's wife, Linda. I mean, can you imagine getting this news? And she has just been like, she's amazing, so kind, so generous. And we also met the whole extended family, Aunt Jean, Uncle Gary, all the first cousins, second cousins. I was even reunited with my 8th grade teacher / first cousin, Kate. And I mean, it was amazing. Every single one of these people was like totally cool with this. They were like really excited to have a new relative. So what did I learn about my dad? I learned he's intelligent and he's well-read. I learned he was a heck of a basketball player for a short guy. And we have similar political leanings, which was a huge relief to us both. He's charmingly corny. He's the kind of dad who goes to the soccer games and the school concerts. He's a really good man. My daughter and I visited again this January around my birthday, and they told me it was a family tradition to do the chicken dance while they sing happy birthday. And I was like, okay. So, I did the chicken dance. And afterwards they said, oh, we were just kidding. So I know, it's really silly, but it made me feel accepted and loved. So you never know what life's going to throw at you. This was not on my bingo card, but it's been a true blessing. I have the kind of dad I always wanted. I have a wonderful stepmother, a great brother and a sister, in-laws, nieces, nephews, just this whole chaotic, amazing family. And I really feel like the luckiest girl in the world. Thank you.